So we're a very young company. We only really started a year ago. There was a partner that we worked with before our project, so there's a couple of years knowledge that we started with, but we're doing a lot of groundwork here, and we're willing to invest. We're willing to build a lot of the things that this country is trying to achieve. But we're running into some interesting challenges which we didn't really expect, and we're trying to overcome this also with the conference here, where we want to point out what are the true challenges of the project, or something that we're trying to create here in the Philippines. So that's, again, the theory. You've seen this before. On the top you see lots of pictures, existing biomass. We saw earlier millions of tons of rice hulls, of straw, of palm fronds. All this is very true, but think, if you do the numbers on this, and you talk about the collection of biomass, the number of palm fronds you have to collect, to bring them into one place, and then the cost to achieve selling them at the power plant, the economics go down very quickly. You have to be very careful relying on a source that you don't control. And you shouldn't forget that all these existing biomass wastes, which are called waste today, will turn into a resource very quickly. They're owned by somebody that is probably not part of your company, so you have to buy it. And these people will understand very, very quickly that all of a sudden it's not a waste anymore, it's a resource. And the prices will go up, and you will see a roller coaster just like in coal. So this is where we are today. Very simple. There's lots of diesel, lots of coal. The smaller the islands get, the more they rely on the diesel power. Very expensive, very unfriendly for the environment. And you have, of course, CO2 emissions and cost. So those two elements leave the system. And what we're trying to look at, and again, this is a theory, we try to create energy self-sufficient systems where, especially in the off-grid systems and on the small islands, you create, or you locate the resource, the biomass, you create biomass power plants, and you make these islands energy self-sufficient. One of the biggest hurdles for development today is the unreliability of the power. If you have 8 hours, 10 hours of power on an island, nobody would invest there. No business would grow. Nobody buys a refrigerator, because you can't be off for 14 hours a day, right? So reliability of power supply is critical to development, no matter how small it is. And you can talk about half a megawatt on an island, you will trigger huge development on an island if you have reliable energy supply. And so what we're trying to do is we're actually looking at all aspects. And one of the things we don't want to do here is cut forest. We think it defeats the purpose of what we're trying to do here, renewable energy. So the one thing that we expected to be simple over here, it turns out to be the most difficult, is finding a suitable land. And that's a question I want to give to the audience here. We have people offering us hundreds of thousands of hectares of land, literally. It's all there. But every time we look deeper into it, it's basically forest land. It's not suitable for plantations or used for food crops. And we need to find a balance between using land that is currently not used but not deforesting it. And that is the biggest challenge we have right now. So please, we invite you, anybody that can help us identifying these things. We're willing to cooperate. We look for partnerships or simply leasing land. We're very open. The very important criteria, it's not just about land, it's about logistics, it's about access, it's about water, it's about sustainability, it's about port access, lots of factors that need to be fulfilled. So the hundreds of thousands of hectares turn into a very small piece of land very quickly when you try to fulfill very, very important economic criteria for a project like this. Two critical factors for a biomass project. Own the biomass, keep the logistics under control. So be very careful with the millions of tons of biomass. They do exist, but getting them to the place where you can sell them at a price that is higher than what the cost is that you invested is not easy. With this, I'd like to conclude my presentation. There's lots of talk around food versus energy, and we believe that topic is a lot more complex than just food versus energy. It's always in the balance. And we try to create projects here that are balanced from a social perspective, environmental perspective, economic perspective, and create a win-win for all stakeholders. Thank you very much.